Alright, bibimbap is one of the best rice dishes out there, as the combination of toppings are endless, but this recipe from Kenji López-Alt is a great place to start. First, we need to make our sauce. So in a small bowl, you're going to add in a half cup of gochujang, 2 tablespoons roasted sesame oil, 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, a quarter cup water, 2 tablespoons sugar, and 2 tablespoons roasted sesame seeds. Then we're going to take 3 garlic cloves, and you can either mince these or crush them, add it into the bowl, and give it a good mix until everything is smooth. Now we can move on to prepping all the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to start with 6 to 8 ounces of shiitake mushrooms. We're going to remove the stem and then thinly slice. Then we're going to take a large carrot, make sure it's peeled, and in terms of how you prep this, it's totally up to you. I'm going with a julienne cut here, as I think it's going to be a nice form factor compared to everything else in the bibimbap. Next, we're going to take 1 medium cucumber. We're going to thinly slice and then cut into half moons. And then finally, we're going to take 4 garlic cloves and mince and set off to the side. All right, now let's talk about beef. So in terms of what cut you should use, it should definitely be on the thinner side. Now, you can use the same stuff used for bulgogi, or you can use Philly cheesesteak beef, and I'm just cutting into thin slices. To give the beef extra flavor, we're going to marinate it for at least 30 minutes in a mixture of 3 tablespoons soy sauce, 1 tablespoon sesame oil, 2 tablespoons honey, and our minced garlic from earlier. Give it a mix, and this ratio was for roughly 1 pound of beef. So before we get cooking everything, one additional topping I wanted for the bibimbap was bean sprouts. These are really easy to make. You just simmer some water, add in the bean sprouts for 3 minutes, and then drain and you're good. Of course, we have to move on to the topic of rice. So we're gonna get this started right as we start to cook everything else in the wok. I'm using jasmine, and I might be a little bit controversial, but I don't like to wash my rice. Now it's time for action. So we're gonna take the wok over high heat, add some sesame oil, and then our julienne cut carrots, hit it with a pinch of salt, and then we're gonna saute this for 2 to 3 minutes until they start to soften. And once done, place them aside into a separate bowl. Now we're gonna move on and cook the cucumbers. So in the same fashion, add a little bit of sesame oil, and over high heat, add your cucumbers along with a pinch of salt and some sesame seeds. These are gonna cook pretty quick, so roughly about a minute, and then set aside into a separate bowl. Next, it's time to cook the mushrooms. So again, more sesame oil, and once you add in your mushrooms, add in a pinch of salt. It's just super important that we've got flavor here, as we don't want any bland toppings. This is gonna take about 3 minutes to cook and then set aside. And finally, for the toppings, we can start on the beef. So sesame oil, and then while it's ripping hot, add in that beef, and we're gonna cook for roughly around 3 minutes. Halfway through, we're gonna add in a sprinkle of sesame seeds, and then just check for flavor. Just be careful to not overcook your beef. You gotta remember that this stuff is super thin, so it's gonna cook pretty quick. Now the last step, and totally optional, is gonna be making some crispy rice. So over medium heat, I'm adding in some sesame oil and around half the rice, and we'll let this toast for a few minutes. For plating, we're going with a classic bibimbap presentation, so some rice with all of our individual toppings on top. So I'm adding in some softer rice on bottom, and then some of our crispy rice. Then we're gonna add in some of our shiitake mushrooms into a corner of the bowl. Then in the same fashion, we're gonna take some of our cucumbers, add that into another side of the bowl, our julienne cut carrots, and then also those mung bean sprouts I was talking about earlier. We're gonna make sure that there's plenty of beef in this bowl, and then an optional add-on, which I really think takes it to the next level, is that egg yolk. And then we're gonna drizzle it with our bibimbap sauce, and there you have it, your dish is done. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.